Welcome back, folks, to another exciting podcast from the Useless Gamers. I am your host, Sam706. That woot woot is the Dyce, the captain, the man of the hour, Captain Dyce.
I have returned and I'm here to take my throne from these usurpers.
No. Nope, it's mine now. It's
God
all
damn it.
mine. Yep. Well, and it's just us, just the two of us today. Just the two of us.
We can
Just
make it
the
if we try, just the two of us.
Yeah. So, you guys are stuck with the two of us. None of those interesting, other opinions from people who aren't all opinionated like Dyce and I.
Screw those guys.
Screw
They
'em.
don't fight hard enough for stuff they don't believe in.
It was really funny. Last podcast, you weren't there, and it was like the most rational, calm podcast. Like, we talked about the merits of things, and it was,
God.
I know, it was pretty funny.
That sounds terrible. I'm here to just make sure that there's more cursing and screaming.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, I guess starting off, Dyce and I have been playing a little bit of Trine 2. Been enjoying that. I thought that snake was pretty interesting, actually, that snake boss.
That snake was retarded. Like, you can't actually directly attack it, but you want to because you have a guy with a giant sword. It's like, what were they thinking?
I know, but I liked how they added in the three-dimensional, I know it wasn't combat, but the three-dimensional combat to the game. Like, it made it more interesting than just a two-dimensional puzzle platformer.
But it is a two-dimensional puzzle platformer. That's literally what it is. With
that's where they fell down. But
yeah,
we've still been having fun with it, so maybe we'll get a video up of that pretty soon.
Hopefully we'll actually beat it this time.
Yeah. Well, we're going through. Dyce, of course, is the lady, the thief. Zoya, is that her name? Zoya?
I think that I'm just gonna call her Zorro.
It started with a Z, so whatever.
Good
And
enough.
I am the wizard, and sometimes the fat knight.
The fat, studly knight with
Yes.
the nubs.
Who can swim in iron armor underwater.
I'm gonna call straight bullshit on that. He should just sink to the bottom and die.
that should have been a character, that's a part of the puzzle platforming.
Yeah,
would not have been hard to do.
That would and you could have made it like the water temple in Majora's Mask. You switch to him and you just sink straight down to the bottom. That would make sense.
Yep. So we've been having fun with that, but today we're going to talk about the recent CES, Consumer Electronics
Show.
Show.
I think that's what
The Consumer Electronics Show.
I bet you that's what it stands for. We never.
Yeah.
It's not like we actually do research or anything for any of these podcasts that we.
Because we're useless.
Of course, that's the whole point.
Yes. So, but we were looking at that. The only thing that caught my eye was the updates on the Oculus Rift. I didn't really see anything else that I was particularly interested in. I know, Dyce, you said you saw something.
It's all just a clavicade of crap. Like I was
clavicade, really?
Yes.
Clavicade,
yes.
You actually pulled out a word I don't know.
Clavicade.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I understand, but I'm gonna look it up now.
Oh God, he's actually gonna. I'm assuming it means just like a shit ton of shit, which is what it felt like. See. There's something weird about hearing about cool new emergent technologies and then seeing the tech demo and being like, oh, so that's what you guys really meant. Oh, this isn't going to sell. And it's
so let me say first of all that the internet does not know about Clavicade.
Clavicade exists. There's a Clavicade of cartoon comedy. I learned that from Family Guy.
I think Seth MacFarlane made that up because that is the only place this word shows up.
Well, there you go. If 3 people use a word, it exists.
Yeah, because the top one is a Clavicade of Disney characters. I don't know what that's about. The next one is a Clavicade of Disney characters. The next one is Seth MacFarlane Clavicade of cartoons.
Well, there you go. You found it on the internet, so it must be true.
And there's literally 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, they're spelling it a little differently. Let's try that. Clavalcade.
Oh my god. While he looks up this made up word, the Oculus Rift now, they've been pushing this at CES.
I spelled it wrong. A procession of riders or carriages.
There you go. It's a bunch of people riding on horseback of shit. There you go. We just defined it.
Oh, cavalcade, not clavalcade. That's where I screwed it up.
Welcome to the useless spellers.
Yes. All right, back to the video games. So the Oculus Rift. I was pretty excited by what I saw. I myself have not had a chance to use the Oculus Rift, mainly because I am poor. And so I'm stuck listening to these, people who get to go and do it and review them and whatever. And I've always been optimistic about this ever since I heard about it. But this was the first time that I really started to get excited. I've heard people talk about how amazing it is, but then you hear about all the negatives, like people get motion sick and people, it doesn't quite track the way it's supposed to. And, or in a way that feels, 100% natural.
Yeah.
And what they're talking about is that they have gotten pretty close to getting rid of some of these, making sure that there's zero lag between your head moving and the camera angles and everything. And how do you actually, some of the things that aren't like that you can't quite tell by motion, some kind of motion sensor inside the device. They actually now have a camera that will pick up visual sensors on the device itself, and so that you can actually move your head in all the ways you would want to move your head. And there was a couple other things that they improved, but you can read about the technical sides of that are people who are much better at talking about it than us. What I'm really excited about is that people are saying it's getting to the point where it's you're going to actually be in that virtual world. If any of you are old enough like me to remember Lawnmower Man, where you're literally in a virtual world.
I don't even remember that. What the hell?
It was a horrible movie.
Oh god.
But
we've all been like a Dave and Buster's, and we've all sat in the huge thing with the head, and it's like the Beachhead 2000. Yeah, that's what we're trying to go for, like a home version of that. And it's here's the thing. I actually tried the original launch of the Oculus Rift. I did it on a whim. I went to an indie gaming convention, and like someone was trying to debut their games out on that. And it's okay, because like you're moving on an XY axis. So it's like you can pivot your head left and right. You can look around. Like it works well for like, Beachhead, whatever, the games. It's like turret mount stationary and still. The thing that they changed differently was essentially they just added a camera, and so now it has real it has
the Z axis.
It's the Z axis. So now
you can now
like
move your head in the third dimension.
Yeah, and and it's cool. Like, my only problem with it is like I'm starting to see the strings behind the technology. This is starting to look like what is it, the Xbox camera, and it's like, oh, so we're going in this direction, and I immediately had flashbacks of what's that game? The game where you're like in the tank, like the walking tank that was so god awful on 360.
I don't even know. I don't play 360. I don't know what kind of horrible games are out for it.
It was just a god awful. It'll come to me later on, but I'm starting to see like where they're going, and I'm starting to think like, this sounds interesting, but I don't really. This doesn't feel like it's adding something amazingly, incredibly new. Like, it'll be awesome. I'm sure once we have some great developers and we launch it out and we have it in the hands, it'll be freaking awesome. But like, I'm not so excited. We've seen, this is the newest version of the Oculus Rift. They came out
called Crystal Cove. The new one is called Crystal
Cove. And some of the demos they had were freaking awesome. They had a demo that was made by the guys who did EVE Online they're trying to push their flight, the actual flight dogfight combat system, and it looked like it was really cool. But I don't know, man. This is something we need to actually play around with before we can come out with a verdict.
I think that they're going to get the visual side of it really well. My concern is the controls. Like, when you think about this as a device in the future, let's assume they get everything to work and it's affordable and things like that. Okay, do I have to be sitting in a chair? Can I play this laying on my bed? How are we going to control stuff? Because if I legitimately have to stand up and move around, that's going to annoy the crap out of me. I mean, like, that's just not... I didn't like the Wii because I had to move my arm when I could have pushed a button. I'm probably not going to like the Oculus Rift if I need to stand up and move, in some, like, legitimate exercising fashion.
God, I have to move my neck? Fuck that, man.
And I can kind of see, I can see the moving that because I've seen the, what are the things called? It's like an IR tracker that you attach to your head. You just clip it onto your headphones, and there's a camera that sits on your monitor, and it allows you to do the head movements, and it just, shows it on your screen. And I've seen that done really well. I don't think it's worth the money for what I do personally, but if you are playing competitive first-person shooters that you can turn your head in, it is absolutely worth it. I don't think I'm going to mind that, but then you also got to wonder, how heavy is this thing going to be? If I'm putting 2 pounds on my head and turning it and it offsets my head, I mean... God, think about it. Like in 10 years or 5 years or something, this thing's all out, and there's like doctors whose only job is to fix the damage to the neck, the spine in your neck.
Oh yeah,
and that's gonna be it. And I think, and that's what I was trying to get at, is I think that this is on the way. I mean, it's coming. With 4K coming out, the graphics are going to be even better, and that was another thing that was demoed at CES, but I don't think it's very interesting yet. That it's coming, and then like whole careers are going to pop up around this stuff. It's not just going to be like, oh hey, here's a device. I'm trying to get to that. There's very few careers that pop up around consoles besides developing games and building the console. But there are going to be careers that get built around a device like the Oculus Rift. There's going to be...
You're pushing it strong,
No,
man.
I am not. I think that there's really going to be careers about this. Why not? Why do you think that there isn't?
Because this is... I definitely see the potential, man, but I think you're pushing a little too strong. I think maybe you're right, but the thing is it's still way too early to tell, and we don't even... This is... I want to give this some more time... Because I was happy with the jump they made from what I saw before to what I see now. Having three axis movement is cool. So I want to give it some time and see. Right now I'm just like, okay, you're moving in the right direction. I'm not crazy about it, but let's see where it goes. That's how I feel.
You don't think?
Not excited. No.
Let me throw this out there as an early technology adaptation. Okay. You don't think that people aren't going to combine this with Google Glass, and there's someone is going to go out and take the future of military reporting. Instead of a reporter having a camera or something, they're going to have a fucking headset with something like Google Glass that is going to stream live back into the homes of everyone who's wearing their Oculus Rift. That's going to be a thing. And it might not be from the U.S. government, because they'll be like, we don't want people to really know what war is like, but it will be there. And you'll have live time tactical soldiers whose job it is to sit there with a camera on their head and view the actual battlefield. So people who are trained to make the decisions can make the decisions they need to make. Not to mention, right, you start doing something like, and of course this is farther down the line. Doctors are going to put on it. No, let me go. Doctors are going to put on an Oculus Rift or something like it, and there will be a machine that is digging into your body, and they will be working off the Oculus Rift camera.
I'm pretty
And
sure in the instances where we're going to use that already exists.
to an extent, but it's on
point of the point of the Oculus Rift is to make it cheaper and something that you can use in homes with video games. That's the only reason why the Oculus Rift's a bit different.
I think it's going to go way farther than that, man. If you think about something like WoW, how like people get addicted to WoW, all right? Then add Oculus Rift to that. You have just added an entire new world for people who only want to sit in their bedrooms and play a video game for their social life to actually do that and like live that VR world. And then there's going to be people who have to address that. Like for me, as you know, working in mental health, I will have to go into people's homes and talk to them about how they need to take off their Oculus Rift and have a real experience. I swear to God, man, I already have to do it with video games. I already have to go into people's homes and say, stop playing video games. You need to be able to communicate with other people because you need to be able to pay your bills.
Well, that's a broader problem with video games in general and escapism. In terms of this particular technology, I'm not talking about video games as a whole. I'm talking about this particular technology doing well and hitting off. And this is the game I was thinking of, Steel Battalion. And it was actually going somewhere along the lines of what you're talking about. Steel Battalion, it came out using the Kinect. The idea is that you have a billion commands and you use your hands and you look around, and it was too much. It essentially became a failure because it became too involved. It was too clunky. People couldn't get into it. Well, it was trying to be too immersive.
First of all, let me say this. The Xbox 360's Kinect sucked.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry. Anyone who likes it, whatever, it sucked. I tried it like twice, and the thing, I mean, like, I occasionally still am around people who use it, and other than being like a little voice chat box, the damn thing sucked. It just was crap. I've heard the Xbox One's Kinect is better, but I mean, obviously, I don't know. I haven't tried one yet. But, I mean, that's the same thing, you know? Imagine if you had tried to play Mario with the Atari controller, you know? It would just suck. There's no doubt about that. Do you see where I'm going with this? That a lot of that was because it was a crappy controller.
Okay. All right.
You're kind of cutting up there, man.
Yeah, I'm cutting up a little bit. I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
Dice. Well, you know, I think we'll just wrap it up from there. Because, I mean, there's really not much more to say about CES. Not too much really happened. There was the PlayStation Now, which allows streaming, especially with older games, which is awesome. But, again, not much happened. And since Dice's voice is given out, we might call it a day. What do you say, Dice?
Considering my technical difficulties, yeah, we'll have to call it a day.
Yep, then that is the say from the captain. Well, we've been the Useless Gamers. I've been your host, Sam706. Has been your co-host, Captain Dyce. Man, I really should settle on, like, a specific thing for you. But anyways, we will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.
Bring me steel.
I wonder.
wonder.
Put this apple on your head.
Reporting for duty. The gates are open. Reporting for duty. Reporting for duty. Tadingo! Yes! Reporting for duty. Get down! Follow the rules. Reporting for duty. The victory is